Welcome everyone to PD in 3, a weekly series where you can learn an instructional strategy, behavior strategy, or practical application of a tech tool in 3 minutes or less. Let's dive in. This week's PD in 3 is all about successfully transitioning students back to brick and mortar. From the beginning of the year, you've likely welcomed back at least a handful of students from Digital Academy or even eSchool. What we're going to lay out for you is a series of strategies and suggestions that we've compiled in our learnings of best practices from the beginning of the year from those teachers who have been most successful in welcoming back students to their brick and mortar classes. And so what we're going to talk about is making the physical classroom a welcoming and comforting environment for those who are entering it for the first time. To mirror what typically would happen and be found in a brick and mortar classroom, many teachers in their Canvas classrooms have created digital brag boards like this one. And each of these would represent a link that students could click on to see their individual work digitally. So if you have that in your Canvas classroom, imagine how powerful it would be for a student returning to brick and mortar to see work that he, she, or they have created digitally displayed in the brick and mortar classroom. If you don't have the option or ability to print out some of that digital work, maybe even ask those students returning to bring in some of their work that they think has been their highest quality so far, so you can add that to the physical layout of the classroom. Another way to make students returning to brick and mortar feel welcome is by use of a protocol like Just Like Me, which we covered in the previous PD in 3. Just to quickly recap, Just Like Me is a protocol where one person, either the instructor or a student, says a statement about themselves that is true, and other students and the instructor can shout out "just like me" to confirm that that statement is true about them as well. A final strategy for making students feel welcome as they return to brick and mortar is by adopting a 10x2 strategy. If you're not familiar with that, 10x2 is basically a strategy where you set aside for 10 days straight 2 minutes of time talking to students about anything non-academic. This can be 2 consecutive minutes, or it could be 2 minutes split up throughout the day. If you are teaching secondary, you probably don't have that much time with your secondary students to be able to talk with them for 2 minutes each day. So you can adopt the 10x30 strategy, where for 10 days straight, you spend at least 30 seconds talking to them about anything non-academic. And our final suggestion for successfully transitioning students back to brick and mortar comes from the classroom management book written by Rosemary and Harry Wong. And this is really a back to basics approach where you go over those procedures and routines and expectations again, just like you would the first week of school, and giving that positive reinforcement through specific positive praise anytime you see those expectations or procedures being done appropriately. You can also have a transition buddy for your student returning to brick and mortar. That transition buddy could be a brick and mortar student who's been there for a while and can help the new or returning student find the bathroom, find materials in the classroom, figure out where to turn things in, and just be that person to help them get back into the flow of things. For more information on reteaching and reinforcing some of those classroom procedures and routines, check out the Classroom Management book by Wong and Wong. And for more information on making students feel comfortable as they return to brick and mortar, check out the castle.org website, which has a ton of resources. This has been your PD in 3.